Hi, and welcome to the Neoprene Playmat. I'm Matt Piak, your host here, and if you haven't noticed yet, today is Thursday. Thursday is a great day for our channel because this is really when our flagship video goes up. This is where we lay it all out. And so what that means is essentially I'm going to be doing a deep dive into different arguments that come up in board gaming or different conversations. Argument might be a strong word. I'm definitely here to create a space to dialogue around. And so today I wanted to take a look at victory points. You might be saying, well, what's he going to talk about with victory points? Is it that every game or most games end with the winner being the one with the most victory points, and we should be creative and come up with something else, or um, what's it going to be? What could be so offensive about victory points? Just a way to score and tally up points. Well, I'll tell you, it's when you end a game and all of the scores are close. Now you might be saying, wait, no. That means the game is tight. That means that the game is designed well, it's balanced well, and although there's multitude of different strategies, they're all successful. They can all bring you uh, to around the same point on the victory point track, which is a great thing. And I would agree with you in that if all the players at the table are similar skill levels, and when they're all playing the game, they all understand the game about to the same degree when they first get started, or maybe they're all just naturally um, the same level of gamer. But for the most part, that's not the case. Um, in a lot of senses, when you sit down, there are people with varying skill levels or varying uh, just ability to do well in a game, and which is totally okay. I mean, that's pretty much life. Anything you go into, everybody has different skill levels, um, and so there are some games that when you sit down, the scoring is tight because everybody at the table is similarly skilled and similarly talented at playing the game. But there are other times when it doesn't matter who you're sitting at the table with. Every single time you get to the end of that game, the score is going to be within 4 or 5 points of the other scores. And what does that mean, though? That means none of the decisions you made throughout the course of the game actually mattered because no matter what you did, you would have ended at the same spot. That means that the game was designed for you to succeed at a certain level. That means that it's not a meaningful decision. It's not a quality choice that you make early in the game that gets you ahead. You are simply choosing one of the many options that are going to land you at a very similar point value. Now, this is not to say the game is designed for the first player to always win or for the same person to win by just a few points every game. There's going to be variance in that, but a lot of times it just comes down to the last turn and how that last turn plays out. There's some luck in that. Maybe there was some planning involved, but at the end of the day, the reason you scored what you scored is because the game was built to function in a way where you scored that many points. Um, and really, the way I always test this is bring the game out with non-gamers or people that don't play as many games and see what happens. I know personally when I hop into a new game, I like to get it on the table, and I love it when somebody smashes me. If I have like 60 points, somebody else has 120, I want to get that game to the table again. When we all end and have 63, 64, 65 points, I'm good to put that game back on the shelf. It's like I've kind of explored this. It was all right. We all did pretty well. When I get smashed, I'm like, man, what am I missing? There's so much more to this game that I'm not even understanding yet. And a lot of times, from the conversations I've had, when people get smashed in a game, even if they don't care about winning, they feel like they're less of a person, like they aren't intelligent enough to play the game correctly, or that they become frustrated with their inability to score as high as other players at the table. And I think a lot of that comes back to American culture in that we identify our thoughts and our actions as our identity. And so when when somebody is at the table and doesn't play well, when they're putting cards out and or maybe taking things to add to their tableau or placing workers, and it's not yielding the results that everyone else at the table is receiving, it feels like, man, am I a worse person? Am I dumb or am I stupid compared to everybody else at the table? And this frankly isn't true. This is a notion we have got to get rid of, especially at the gaming table. If we expect to bring new people into the hobby, we can't assume that somebody is dumb or unintelligent, or that we are dumb or unintelligent because of a score in a game. It's simply maybe we've never played a game like that before. Maybe this is a way our brain has never worked before, and the combinations required here might be beyond what we've seen, what we've experienced through our life up until this point. And so this is a learning opportunity. This is, man, I could score a lot more points if she could score that many points. I could definitely get there. I just gotta figure out what else is what's going on. What's under the surface here? What's the game trying to get me to do? And when we start looking at it that way, getting smashed in a game is actually an opportunity for us to play games more and to get better at those games, which is something that is kind of a lost art today. A lot of times people buy a game, and I'm definitely guilty of this, buy a game, play it 2 or 3 times, and it never comes off the shelf again. Um, but when you get smashed in a game, I don't know, maybe this isn't the same for you, but for me, I'm getting that thing to the table all the time. I'm trying to figure out what I'm doing wrong and how I could get better. It's not that much that I care about winning. I'm not leaving at the end of the day saying, man, I won 4 games and lost 2, and that's a good record, and I'm so excited about this. But at the same time, when that game clicks, when I finally understand how to get up into the 100 victory point range, when I keep scoring 60 or 70, all of a sudden, like, that releases a ton of, I don't know, endorphins or dopamine. I don't know. I'm not a doctor, but it feels really, really good. It feels like I've conquered something, that I've gone above and beyond where I was before. And so when a game gives me different scoring at the end, I'm so excited, because it means that there's so much more for me to learn in that game. There's so much more for me to want to get that game back to the table. It doesn't become one of these 2 or 3 play times that I just put back, because it offers a similar experience to half the other tight games out there. No, this is one that there's definitely a skill level and definitely something to improve upon. And so for me, large disparities in scoring, especially if I get smashed, keep bringing me back to the table. So if you're a designer, I encourage you, make your designs interesting. Make some depth to it. Have a disparity in scoring if you can do that. It's not great having a manufactured experience unless that's what you're looking for. There are certain games that are more story driven, that are more about jumping you into the story rather than competing like most Euros and things of that nature. When I say that, I mean different from most Euros and that sort of thing. Um, Really, like, that's what we need in this hobby. We need something that's drawing us back to the table. When we're buying hundreds of games a year, I probably don't buy hundreds of games a year. I should be more accurate. Probably 50 games a year. It's best if we can have something to draw us back, something to say, hey, I don't need to buy another game because I'm still exploring this one. Um, and so I guess in final, think about the tight games you're playing. Think about whether or not you're actually able to make meaningful decisions. Think about whether or not each move you make has an impact on the game. And maybe everything I've said here is hogwash. Maybe it's all just in my head. Maybe this isn't a problem, and in fact, tight scoring is a strength. But most of the industry seems to think it is. Tell me if I'm wrong. Tell me if I'm right. Uh, Hit it up in the comments below. Uh, Thanks again for watching. This has been the Neoprene Playmat. Have a great day.